Hi everyone, this is Anka back with another painting video. Here I'm starting out with a piece of Strathmore 500 heavyweight mixed media paper, and here I'm actually prepping 4 all at once with a series of abstract backgrounds. I call this my reverse splatter paint. And now I'm working on a painting for an art show at Nucleus Portland, which is a gallery in Portland, Oregon, and it is a postcard show, so everybody does a 5x7-inch artwork. All the artwork is the same size, it all sells for the same price, and I'm working on 4 Goldfish Bandits. So this very first one is starting with the background. Now, my Goldfish Bandit pieces that I have painted so far, all of them have very vague, abstract, ill-defined backgrounds. It's just a colorful splatters of paint with a couple plants and flowers, and then Goldfish Bandit in the middle of the scene. And they're also very rainbow. And so for this one, I wanted to try something different and see how it would go. And part of that was establishing more scenery around the goldfish itself. And so I painted the entire background in first, quite simplistic, especially where I knew Goldfish Bandit would be in the foreground. And so it's just kind of a blurry path in this forest. But also knowing that so much of Goldfish Bandit is a glass bowl with glass arms and legs, you're going to get peaks of the trees and the grasses and the flowers kind of through all these transparent areas. And so I do think it adds a really fun and interesting depth to the piece. So in this caper, Goldfish Bandit is stealing a beehive. They've got their saw in their hand, and they have just sawed the beehive off a branch, and they are on the run. I do want to talk for a minute about this beehive, just because I think it is such a funny convention that we've continued through art, which is this style of beehive doesn't look anything like what naturally happens in the wild. This is not what bees create. This is based on a skep, and a skep is an old style of beehive for people who would raise bees, and it was made out of coiled rope. And we don't use them anymore generally because they're very difficult to maintain the hives and to get the honey out. But I don't know, I don't know the history of it. I just know what I've observed visually, and it is funny to me how it kind of has morphed into, oh, this is the generic shape for a beehive. And also, bees live in nature, and so just stick this shape on a tree branch as if it's something the bees make themselves, instead of the reality of a skep would be, what, you just put it on a stone wall or put it on a table or something, and the bees go to and from it. But it has nothing, it's not built onto a tree branch. And so I do think that's very funny. And of course, Goldfish Bandit is a cartoon world, and just really leaning into the absurdity of these cliches that are sort of based on reality, but they're so twisted and warped. I do think it's very funny. And of course, I like that Goldfish Bandit was prepared with the saw, and they had to have those bees. They're taking the whole hive on the run. Now, this is actually a reworking of pretty much the same painting. I have painted Goldfish Bandit stealing bees carrying a saw a few years ago, and that painting sold, but this one is completely different in color palette. I'm sticking with a very sepia, lots of warm browns. Goldfish Bandit is the only one that has more of this orange golden glow, but even then all the colors are very close to the same family. And then here is where I decided to really have some fun with it. As I started to block in the bees, I was look to my left where I have a stack of metal leaf from metal leaf experiments that I was doing earlier in the year. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I made the bees gold and just lightly painted in the details, and so you could still get that flash of metallic when you look at the piece from multiple angles. So I did coat my artwork with gloss gel medium, let it dry, and then I used the Speedball metal leaf adhesive over those little bumblebee beans and applied the metal leaf, and then burnished it, brushed it away, let it dry for a day, and then I coated it again with gloss gel medium, and then here I am painting with acrylic paints again. And it worked so much better than I could have even planned for. You know, it looks like I knew what I was doing, and I'm really happy with it. And this informed the subsequent 3 Goldfish Bandits, where I added metal leaf accents to all of them because I love the effect so much, and it was just such a fun thing to play with, adding this extra dimension to the artwork. And so here's the final touches, just at the very end, going over everything, extra highlights and extra bits of shading, just getting those final pops of color or pops of contrast to make everyone stand out. And here's a finished piece. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!